Hi there, folks. I think we're getting quite a few people to join us, of course. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, depending on wherever you're joining us from. Thank you so much again for taking out the time to chat with us. For those of you who've been to some of the webinars earlier this year, you would have seen me around. I'm Kushal. I lead on all things content and brand here at Just Call. And I'm super excited to be hosting this webinar because it's honestly one of our last ones, at least on the cards for this year. So, really excited that this one is going to be about taking a break without breaking your business because I think that's a really key theme for so many of us. And we know this from our own experiences, but also from what we hear from our customers. So, welcome on board, folks. During the next hour, we're going to take you through some really hands-on ways to make sure that you can take a break from your business without taking a business hit. You can help your teams unplug and get some rest, take some time off, enjoy the holidays, get some time to themselves, and do all of those good things without having to worry too much about your business. So, just setting some quick context for you there. I'm going to get it and start to share some slides as well, getting into the chat here. And just to kind of get us warmed up, I brought a few props along as well. So, just for a little bit of light humor, I'm going to wear these just for a couple of seconds just to get some reactions from the crowd here. Really curious folks. This is, of course, holiday season. Do you make it a point to wear something memorable, something fun on the meetings that you do around this time, with your people as well? We'd love to see it in the chat. Team Just Call, I'm not sure if we see the chat option here. I don't think people are able to interact with the chat currently from what I can see. So if you could just look at the chat settings and fix those for us, but I don't see the chat option currently enabled for our participants. So if you can just check on that in the backend, that would be great. Okay, great. I can see a hello here. So that's awesome. So curious folks, like I said, do you wear something festive? Do you put a festive background? Do you have a special Zoom background during the holidays that you sort of put on to make things festive or not? Would love to hear if you can put that in the chat for us. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and then we can jump into things. All right, here we go. All right, great. Take a break without breaking your business, folks. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Thanks so much for joining us. Like I said, I'm Kushal, lead on all things content and creative here. I'm joined today by Prateek, who's a customer success manager with us. Prateek, would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Vishal. Hello, everyone. My name is Prateek Chaudhary, and I work as a success manager with strategic team at here Just Call. Uh, More or less, my primary work is to get folks the most value out of the platform, and that is where I come in. Really happy to be co-hosting this session with you, Kushal.
Awesome. Thanks so much for jumping into this with me. I know it's always, a fun one, but I know I can send out, I do quite a few surprises now and then on the show as well. So thank you for being brave enough to jump in and co-do this with me. Really appreciate it. Moving ahead, just a quick, few items on housekeeping as well. The session will run for the next hour or so. I know we always get asked, this is probably the number one question on any webinar if you've been to. We are recording the session and we will share it with you via email later. Do drop any questions that you may have for us in the chat and we'll try and address them as we go, but we'll especially address them towards the end. And if there are any unaddressed ones that we weren't able to take up, then we'll definitely address them when we send you a follow-up email. We'll also be sharing an exclusive asset with you during the webinar, and one lucky attendee is also going to receive a gift card just to say happy holidays. So stay tuned till the end because we're going to be running that lucky draw sort of around that time, right? So just a few things that I wanted to cover on housekeeping. Now, getting into some context here on what we're doing here. And first off, like I said, thank you so much for making the time here. December is a time when a lot of us get into holiday mode, but clearly the folks who are on call here with us are not in holiday mode yet. Business is clearly still on their minds, and rightfully so. And hey, we as a company are totally here for you and for your business, and that's why we're here. Now, the truth I think for December is that, it's supposed to feel joyful, festive, celebratory. For a lot of folks, it does mean time off as well, right? No matter what you do or don't celebrate. But it's generally that time of the year when you want to reflect, maybe pause, maybe slow down a little bit. But the reality is that for a lot of teams on support and success, it can feel like survival mode. It's a very, very busy peak season. And curious if you folks have that experience as well. What we see typically is, for instance, call volumes really go up, teams are stretched really thin. A lot of folks tend to be out of office during these times, right? Like I know that as a manager, I get so many requests for folks going out of office and you really don't want to say no to people spending some time off or, with their families. And of course, if you're relying on email as a channel as well, then of course your inboxes are flooded. And this is especially true, I think, of businesses that sell directly to customers because there are so many businesses that we ourselves as customers know get really busy, right? And we have a quick poll here if you can see as well. We'd love to understand what is your biggest December challenge, right? Which probably brought you to this webinar today and, is what you're trying to solve for your business overall. Is it missed calls? Is it having a burnt out team? Is it lost sales opportunities, long wait times? Or is it really all of the above? So if you could just go ahead and let us know, we'd be interesting to see, what's at the top of the mind for so many folks here. And of course, we know that the cost of slipping just once can, be a lot. It obviously means frustrated customers, but more than that, it really means, sometimes you lose, brand and customer trust and loyalty over time. And that's not an experience that you want to give, especially considering that it's so hard, to create brand loyalty and customer loyalty to begin with. It takes a lot to do that in today's climate, especially with so many competitors and so many offers, and just so many options there for customers and consumers today. So you obviously don't want to miss out on any opportunity to build or improve brand loyalty and experience overall, right? So when you miss or you don't handle your customers the right way during December or during a peak time, then there's obviously that fear for you as a business owner, right? As a business operator. And beyond that, if you're talking about January and when you're coming back, it's kind of like those memes, right? Where they say that this is a Monday problem. And then suddenly when it's, on Friday, you say it's a Monday problem. And then when it's Monday, it all just hits you at once, right? So it's the same thing, I think, between December and January. It's very tempting to say, you know what, let's look at this next year. And that's probably what a lot of us get from our customers, especially, or prospects that we're trying to close if you're in sales. But the other side is that when it is January and you're on the other side of the year, you'll also have a backlog that you don't really want to be going through, right? So I think all of those have felt those pains ourselves as consumers. Pretty curious to hear, what do you see commonly across customers when you work with them?
Yeah, no, I've been in the SaaS industry for like 4 or 5 years now. This is a common issue everywhere. Like December volume goes up, team size goes down. Even the bestest of plans, they seem to fall through the cracks, right? So it's not a specific domain. This is something we notice throughout different domains, throughout different industries. So I'm really glad to be hosting this session so we can take a look into what we can do for our folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at, the results from what folks said, I think you could see that quickly on the screen as well. Lost sales opportunities clearly is one of the biggest pain points from what I can see, right? And I think it's a very valid one because there are a lot of folks who are still in the market, depending on your business type around this time of the year. And obviously, then you're going to be losing out on that. I can see that all of the above is clearly up there as well, followed by missed calls and long wait times. A burnt out team I can see is also the last, but sometimes it's also one of the most important because in the long term, sure, today might just seem like one burnt out employee or team, but tomorrow it means it's a business that ultimately might not become sustainable. So I think that's the larger subtext there. And that really feeds into this piece as well, right? Is that obviously there's, this old no good way sort of to do out of office, right? Where during December, a lot of teams will say, okay, you know what, we'll survive somehow, with really lean teams, we'll pull it off somehow, we'll get it done, right? Or, you might be pulling in additional staff and most of the staff tends to be very expensive because you're obviously working at a premium time of the year and they're also aware of your business need, right? Worst case, you'll have your reps and agents working through the holidays. But that, like I said, in the long term is probably more expensive because ultimately you'll have a more burnt out workforce. And that is literally not useful for anyone and definitely not in the holiday spirit as well. Or, you will have the typical voicemails or, inboxes with auto emails saying we're experiencing higher than usual volumes, please hold on, please hang on. And literally no one wants to be, either receiving one of those bounce back emails or, having to wait on for forever, right? Like, yeah, I think so much has been said about how that can become a really bad fragmented customer experience. And this is especially true of companies where every call counts, every call is important, and I think that's the majority of how most of us run business today. It's all about being close to the customers, having speed to lead, resolving customer queries really fast, right? And those are some of the basic tenets I think that any business is really expected to stick to, right? And honestly, in this playbook, everyone loses. While it might seem tempting to sort of push through, one way or the other through the season, but if you don't really have a better way set out, then it's really like it's like being between a rock and a hard place where, either you don't take time off, but, honestly, you get burnt out in the long term in life, or you take time off and you're still worried about your business and, worst case, it takes a hit as well. So that really led us to thinking, there needs to be a better way for us to be doing any of this, right? And it's a pain that we've very keenly seen because, Just Call has been doing this for about 10 years now. And we've clearly seen, these friction points and these breakpoints in businesses. And that's something that we wanted to solve, considering that there is good technology today that can help us do so many of these things. So just moving ahead from here, Prateek, you want to take it ahead?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Kushal. Yeah, so given everything we just walked through, right? We at Just Call wanted to find a way to support teams without actually asking them to push through the holidays. That's really what led to the entire holiday agent, AI voice agent setup. So the easiest way for me to describe it is that it handles the predictable parts of customer communications, so your team can handle the meaningful parts. So as you can see, it can pick up calls when no one is available, answer common queries, gather the right details, and hand things off cleanly when a human needs to continue the conversation. It's not designed to take over your entire workflows or make sweeping decisions. It's just there to prevent the unnecessary pain that we see every year, the backlog, the delays, the feeling of starting January already behind. For most teams, that's the difference between a holiday that feels manageable versus a holiday that feels like a damage control. So let me actually show you a live AI holiday agent that we have created for Just Call. Kushal, if I could share my screen.
Absolutely, go for it.
One sec.
And folks, as always, with these webinars, we tend to keep them very hands-on and very experiential, very experiential. So, we're going to jump in, show you how parts of, how you can really solve this for yourself as well. And that's, always the attempt here.
Okay, perfect. Can you all see my screen? Can I get a thumbs up, Kushal?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So this is the Just Call platform, and I'll be navigating to the AI voice agent module section of the platform. This is the holiday agent we have built. It's called Holly underscore JC. I'll just go ahead and click edit. So this is how the entire AI voice agent piece looks like, right? On the right hand side, you have the entire AI agent divided into 5 different modules, and I'll cover that individually. But to start off with, you have the basic settings on the left hand side. You have the language, English, Spanish, French. You even have multilingual. So let's say if someone's talking in Spanish, AI voice agent will automatically detect the language and start conversing in that. If someone switches to French in between conversation, it'll switch to that. You have different voices you can choose from, not just the voices. If you really like your own voice, or if you would want to create a custom voice for someone in your team, you even have the option to do that. And even the voice settings, you have the ability to tweak them based on the speed, speaking style, volume. And then you have something called manage variables. Now this is where things actually get really interesting, and I'll cover this in detail when I come to the action section. But more or less what manage variable means is that, let's say, if you leave the whole AI bit aside, if someone's calling your team asking for what's the resolution for my last ticket, or where am I getting my refund or not, your team would actually have to go into your CRM, get that information, and relay it to the customer. So that is exactly what the whole AI bit is doing. We integrate not just with CRMs, but we do custom integrations, Google Sheet, bunch of different things. So the AI voice agent real time can fetch information and relay it to the customer. So it's having like a human like conversation. I'll get to this in a bit when I come to the action section. But yeah, starting with the first module, that's the behavior. It's more or less where you identify what sort of a behavior or personality you would want to give your AI voice agent. You have your AI agent role. As of now, we have named it Holly, holiday agent. You give it a personality. The agent I built, it's friendly, concise, confident. Conversation style guidelines. This is where we actually set up guidelines in order to what it should and what it shouldn't discuss. Maybe if someone's calling regarding pricing, Maybe you don't want AI to have that conversation and maybe route it to your team members. So this is where you set up guardrails for your AI voice agent bit. Next, you have the knowledge base section. Think of this as the brain of the AI voice agent. Whenever any customer is calling or AI voice agent is making an outbound call, this is whenever any customer is asking a question, this is where it pulls out the information from. This is the knowledge base. Here again, we have it divided into three subsections. One is the web pages, the text, the Q&A. Web pages, what it does is if you even put your homepage URL, it will crawl through the entire website, not just the homepage, but through all the sub websites as well, crawl through every bit of information, and it will use that as the knowledge base for having conversations with your callers. That is one thing. The other thing you have is text as well. You can add a bunch of different text here. I think the character limit is in thousands. So whatever you can't fulfill with web pages, you can use text. And whatever you can't fulfill with these two, you also have Q&A. You can upload a CSV file, or if not that, you can even add question and answers manually. If this is the question, this should be the answer. And again, I think it goes without saying, you can use all these three in conjunction. So it's not like you have to use only one of them at a time. Next, we come to the call flow section. Call flow, think of it as a script for AI voice agent, right? This is how the AI voice, this is the script or the framework that the AI voice agent will follow. So as of now, it's pretty basic what we have created for the holiday agent. We ask for name, we ask for reason for calling, and we categorize the request. You can create your own different call flows or scripts based on what your use case is. And the manage variable parts, what I showed you earlier, you can use these variables in the call script as well. So let's say your account is integrated with HubSpot, right? And Adam, who is already in your HubSpot, calls this number. If I write here at the rate caller name, now this entire script has become variable, right? So whenever Adam calls this number, it'll say, "Hello, Adam, how are you doing?" Instead of the generic response, "Hi, this is me on this side. How may I help you?" So this just makes the entire experience very contextualized, very personalized. And again, we have few standard variables, but the possibilities are endless with the whole custom actions and variables bit. So you can even use the variables in the call flow.
Pratik,
Next,
got some really cool questions. Sorry, just
yeah,
jumping in.
sure,
So
sure,
some
sure.
really, cool questions which you have got on, which we've of course answered, which are around, and I think this is useful for everyone, right? Can we do a call transfer? So of course, yes, we can do call transfers. And in
Yeah,
fact, we can just cover that and show how. I think that's a
correct.
request from Jean as well. So if we can do that, that'll be great. And of course, can you import existing knowledge bases? That's a yes as well. You can absolutely do that as well. So yeah, if you could just call out, especially the warm transfers, that'll be great.
I will. Thank you. Thank you so much for the question, Dean. That's a really good question. And I will be covering that in the next actions module. So this is actually where the entire magic happens, right? You have actions before the call, you have actions during the call, and you have actions after the call. So before the call, think of it as information AI voice agent, or IVA, we like to call it here at Just Call. IVA would know before making the call or taking the call. So let's say if it's making a call to Adam, before making the call, it will know Adam, who lives in Texas, who has an open issue, has a pending refund. All this information IVA will know prior before making the call or taking an inbound call from Adam. So this is where you set up the actions before call, and you have custom actions here. Custom actions again is just based on the information that we are fetching via APIs. It could be our Google Sheet, it could be our CRM. It just has to be API endpoints. So the API endpoints should be open, and we should be able to fetch that information. So that is what we have before call. During call is actually where things get interesting, and where, Gene, I think I'll be covering your transfer use case as well. We have a bunch of different actions during the call. We have schedule appointments, send SMS, transfer, IVR, custom action. So I'll go over each one by one. First is schedule an appointment. So let's say someone is calling IVA for Gene, right? And is asking the IVA, can you please book a meeting with me? Can you please book a meeting with Gene for tomorrow at 4? Because IVA will be integrated with Gene's Google Calendar. It would have already checked the meeting schedule. Let's say Gene is busy at 4 tomorrow. So IVA will respond, yeah, Gene looks busy. Does 5 sound all right for you, or does 6 sound all right for you? It will do the conflict checking and only then suggest the time. and not just suggesting the time. It'll actually go ahead and book a meeting, not just with the caller, but on Gene's calendar. So that is what schedule appointment does. You just have to describe the scenario here. So maybe they want to, you can have different calendars for sales team, support team, marketing team, and it can intelligently figure out where exactly does it have to actually schedule a meeting. You have to describe the scenario, what voice agent should respond, and you just have to integrate your Microsoft or Google Calendar. It works well with both. Next thing is send SMS. So this is actually pretty interesting. So what it does is, based on the scenario, based on the type of conversation it's having, it can send SMS during a call. So let's say if someone's asking, I'll again take G's case. Someone's asking, can you tell me the pricing for so and so company, or what does Gene actually do? We just have to describe the scenario here, and we have to write the message based on the conversation and the scenario. It'll send a message during the call. So that is what it does. Then we have the transfer call section. So again, we just have to describe the scenario here. Let's say if someone says, can you please transfer my call to sales team, to support team, to marketing team? We can set up different transfer calls, and we can have the voice agent respond and transfer the calls automatically. Now, this is actually where we have two new features. I think it was launched a few months ago, but yeah. Uh, so we have different types of transfers here. One is called the cold transfer, another is called the warm transfer. Cold transfer is nothing but someone's calling AI voice agent and it asks to route it to support team. It just routes the call to support team. When the call gets to them, they don't actually have any context of the call, of the conversation I ever had with the person before it transferred, right? That's what we call a cold transfer. It just transfers the call without context. As compared to warm transfer, what happens here is, let's say again, I say, can you please transfer my call to Gene? It'll actually transfer the call to Gene. It'll summarize the entire conversation AI voice agent had with the customer. During this time, the customer is put on hold. It'll summarize the entire discussion to Gene. And when Gene says, yeah, please transfer the call, then it will transfer the call. So Gene will carry forward the conversation, not start the conversation from anew. That is what warm transfer means here. Then you also have IVR navigation. Let's say if we are doing an outbound call and outbound IVR hits an IVR, it can navigate through the IVR piece to actually talk to the human agent or do whatever it's supposed to. And then you also have custom actions, right? So let's say someone's calling some transport logistics company and they're asking for update on their order. So we can have, if as an example, we can have the AI voice agent ask, could you please tell me your order ID? If they tell their order ID, IVA will then fetch that use that information, fetch via API the details for their order ID from CRM, and during the call, will give them live updates. So custom actions you have before call and after call. It depends on the use case that you're trying to solve with the IVA and your business. But as I mentioned before, the possibilities are endless here. And that's pretty much it. And all of this, you can actually have multiple schedule appointments. You can have multiple transfers, multiple messages based on your scenarios. And then you have actions after the call. So you have caller information. Let's say there are certain key pieces of information that you would want IVA to necessarily collect during the call. Maybe it's their name, email address, phone number, reason for calling, whatever it is. You can have data collection. You can have IVA collect text, number, or Boolean yes or no. And all of these information pieces that it will collect will automatically be logged separately in your CRM. So you don't actually have to scramble through the entire transcript or the call recording. These key pieces of information will be logged separately. Apart from data collection, again, you also have send SMS after the call, and you also have disposition code. So this actually a lot of folks find useful. Disposition, think of disposition as outcome after the call, right? If the call went well and you would want to maybe make another call to the prospect buyer, you would want to tag that call as a disposition with interested. As compared to someone who is not interested in the call, you would not maybe want to waste more time on that. So you can just Iva can just automatically tag calls with dispositions. And again, as I mentioned before, all of these data points that we are collecting and storing automatically will be logged individually in your CRM. So it makes it easier for you to segregate all this data later on.
And I'll just jump in here to add very quickly,
Yeah.
it sounds like these are a lot of settings. But you'll see in a later segment, on our show that it's actually really easy and seamless to set up all of these. It literally takes about 30 seconds to go and start off your AI voice agent, build with AI, and then you can very easily just, it'll pre-fill based on AI intelligence. It'll pre-fill almost every field for you. So all you need to do is go in, review, make any tweaks, edits that you want, test the AI voice agent live. Obviously, go in and change any of the custom settings, any of the more advanced settings, and change that to what you want. But everything else is actually pretty seamless. You don't need a dev, you don't need an engineer, you don't need that set of folks. I have high respect for those set of folks as well, but this is one of the easiest things that almost anyone can literally set up for their own business with very, very little, technical know-how or dev support. And of course, our team is always here. We're pretty hands-on with support as well. So our team is always here to assist with any sort of use cases as well, right? I can see we've got some interesting questions again in the chat. So I'm just going to call that out as we go along. One of the questions I think we got was, can we transfer it to a group call, which I think is an interesting question. The answer, of course, is that yes, we can. The voice agent can transfer the calls to an agent or a group or a number with all incoming workflow set up in case it isn't able to assist. We just need to add the situation. So if you're just able to add what that scenario looks like, what that trigger action is, then we can always have the AI voice agent handle the rest. So when it comes to AI, it's a very simple scenario. If you tell it what the scenario is, if you describe that accurately as a trigger point, then it'll do the exact action that you want it to. So that's pretty much how the setup works. Anything else you want to
Yeah.
talk here, Prateek?
No, as you mentioned, it's a no code solution apart from the custom actions. So even Kushal can build out the AI voice agent herself. So it has to be easy that way. So the question you asked about the routing part. So when you actually transfer the call, you have a bunch of different settings, right? You can transfer it to team members, user groups, just call number, or external number. So depending on how you would want the call to be routed, maybe you would want ring in order, round robin, ring all team members. You can just have the call routed to a number where we will then set up the routing. So the benefit of AI voice agent here is that it's built on top of just call. It's built on top of the voice over internet platform. It's not a standalone solution. So a lot of transfer, a lot of configuration settings we already do offer natively. Okay. Moving on to the last piece here, it's the advanced setting. You have a bunch of different settings. You can set the time zone, responsiveness, if you would want the interruption sensitivity. So if you set it to high, if someone even starts speaking, AI voice agent will just go quiet as compared to like a conversation folks usually have. We usually keep it at 0.7, 0.8, but high interruption sensitivity, it'll just stop talking. Then you have call settings, background noise, just to make it sound more human-like. You have coffee shop, convention hall, all the different kind of stuff. You have active noise cancellation, and specifically because this AI voice agent can do both take in inbound calls and make outbound calls. We also have something called the AMD or the answering machine detection. So when it's actually calling, making an outbound call, if we sense a answering machine on the other end, you have two options here. You can either end the call immediately, or you can have a voicemail left on their answering machine. And again, as I mentioned before, this voicemail again we can even personalize and contextualize because we would have the information before making that call. So it'll not be hi caller name, it'll be hi Kushal or hi Jean or hi Ayush.
Yeah, and I think
So
when it comes to the outbound piece, I think that's incredibly helpful because when a lot of businesses, we get calls from customers. They give us consent. They tell us that they want us to get back to them with something, or they filled a form. They asked for a discount, any of those pieces, and consented for us to contact them, right? And in those scenarios, honestly, as someone on marketing, I know that our constant joy in life is seeing how fast we can get back to a customer or a lead, right? So with
yeah,
the outbound AI voice agent, you can now have the AI voice agent do these calls, to these warm leads who consented to being called in the first place, and very easily, automatically, really, just be calling them again. And if, like we saw, of course, if there's a voicemail detected, then they'll drop a message as well. So I think it's really incredibly helpful from that perspective. As a marketer myself, I think it's really cool to see how we can be using AI to plug in all of these gaps that are honestly really hard to fill with humans. And more than that, it's just not the right, I think, expectation setting as well, right? I think humans in the loop, and we as a company also believe that it's really important to have a human in the loop. And when human and AI come together, there's so much more that they can do. There's so much magic that can be created from an operational efficiency perspective as well. And that's, I think, really the differentiation that AI can bring when it comes to, calling and voice specifically. Thanks, Prateek. I think that was incredibly helpful for everyone to see as well.
Thank you so much, Kushal. Uh, can we move over to the next slide, maybe?
Yes, absolutely. And this is, I
Uh,
think, where a lot of the fun
yeah,
is also going to begin, right?
yeah. So for this slide, the AI voice agent that we actually demoed, so you can actually scan the QR code and call the AI voice agent right now, and everyone in the meeting can do that because the agent can handle n number of calls at the same time. So while folks take time to make their calls, Kushal, would you also be able to perhaps
Yes,
make a call and have your phone on speaker so we could all hear the conversation?
absolutely. If you just give me a quick moment.
Sure. Yeah. And folks on the call, please do scan the QR code or dial this number and test the voice agent so
Yeah.
we can actually get the data.
Yeah, and here's some scenario setting, right? So what we did was for, some of our holiday agent and the way that we built up Holly was that we wanted her to be able to, if someone spotted this number in the wild, or if we put it on a website or anywhere else, we'd want her to be able to pick up, any sort of questions that a typical caller might give them. In this scenario, for instance, we put her on, put this number on certain billboards in certain areas where we thought we wanted to gather more interest on marketing, right? And, we'll of course have people calling into this number and asking questions about our business and about the holiday agent in itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and scan this number. Great, and it's not scanning for some reason right now, but it will eventually. Just give me a moment. All right. Let's see.
Hi there. Thanks for calling Best Call. I'm Holly, your holiday AI voice agent. How are you today?
Hi, Holly. I'm good. This is Maya. Happy holidays. Oops, I think Maya didn't get that. Hi, Holly. You there?
Hi, Maya. Yes, I'm right here. I caught that you're doing well. Happy holidays to you too. What can I help you with today?
So Holly, I was curious, right? I saw this billboard somewhere. I saw this number, and I'm curious in learning more about how you can help me with my business. I run a business of selling holiday themed sweaters.
For sharing that, Maya. I love the idea of a holiday themed sweater business. Sounds festive and fun. Just Call's Holiday Agent is designed to help businesses like yours by answering calls, handling basic questions, and even routing important calls with all the right details so you never miss a beat, even during the busy season. Could you tell me a bit about how you currently handle customer calls or support, especially when things get hectic?
Sure, Holly, it's honestly just me, making stuff, handling vendors, taking calls. I do have two additional support who I bring on to, answer the phones, but they don't work, beyond 6 p.m. And we have a lot of folks typically order from us later, beyond 6 p.m. So I don't know how to handle those.
Maya, juggling everything yourself, plus limited support after 6 p.m., can make it tough, especially when customers reach out in the evenings. It sounds like you're looking for a way to make sure those late calls don't slip through the cracks. If you could wave a magic wand, what's the single biggest challenge you'd want solved with your after hours calls?
I think it's really for no call to get missed. I think that's my biggest fear as a business owner, that I'm going to miss out on business. So if we could make sure that no calls get missed, I think that would be great.
Perfect sense, Maya. Missing even one call can feel like a lost opportunity, especially during the holidays. With Just Call's AI voice agent, every call gets answered instantly, no matter the time. We can gather customer info, answer common questions, and even book appointments or take orders so you never lose a lead, even after hours. Would you like to hear how this could work specifically for your sweater business? Or are you curious about how setup and pricing work?
I'm curious about all of it, Holly, but I actually have to jump off for now. Could you please send me an email with all of these details so I can have someone on my team check?
Absolutely, Maya. I can send you all the details by email so you and your team can review everything at your convenience. Could you please share the best email address to reach you? I'll make sure to confirm it back to you before sending anything.
Sure, it's Maya, Maya, at abc.com.
Thank you, Maya. Just to confirm, your email is Maya, that's Maya, at abc.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. I'll send you all the details about how Just Call can help your holiday sweater business, including after hours coverage, setup, and pricing. Is there anything else you'd like me to include in the email or any specific questions you want answered?
Just a quick one, Holly. Why don't you give me a joke about the holidays before we log off?
Of course, Maya. Here's a quick holiday joke for you. Why was the snowman looking through the bag of carrots? He was picking his nose. Wishing you lots of laughter and a wonderful holiday season. If you need anything else, just reach out. Take care.
Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it.
I think,
Okay, that
yeah,
was fun.
I think I might have to tweak the agent to be a little more humorous. I think it fell short on the humor side.
Okay, well, maybe it could have told a better joke or two, but I don't think that was bad for, considering
Yeah,
I just put her on the spot and asked her for a joke, right? So I think that was worth a laugh for sure. I'm curious of other folks, in the chat, did you folks go and try this number yourself? Just maybe give us a yes if you were able to make a call. And, just curious on your experience there. Also curious, have you folks, ever spoken with an AI voice agent and how has your experience been? If you could pop that into the chat, that'll be great. And you of course heard the AI voice agent live in action. Like Pratik said, there's so many settings that are really, really minor but nuanced and very, very easy to configure and control. So it's just a matter about going in and changing a lot of those settings, and you can make the AI voice agent much more custom suited and better suited to your specific need, business, geography, accent, scenarios, triggers, any of those pieces, right? And those are really easy as we'll see going ahead.
yeah.
Very quickly, just checking the chat before we move ahead. If you could give me a minute. Yes, Louise, everything. So as soon as you want to, try out the agent, you can absolutely do that as well. And we'll be sharing links. In fact, I think we have a quick hand raiser poll coming up. Arif will take your question here, which sounds very interesting, but we're going to be, quickly sort of sharing a hand raiser poll here as well. If you folks are interested in what you saw the AI voice agent and you'd like to give it a try, give us a yes, absolutely, maybe, but I'd like more information already using, a dialer or a system already, and not right now, thanks. All options are valid. So if you just want to maybe give this a try, let us know, and we'd be happy to take it ahead from there. Also, I think we'd like to pop in, a quick link in the chat as well from the team. If you're sure you'd like to speak with the team, I saw a question from someone there about pricing as well, right? About availability. So please go ahead, book some time on the calendar as well, and someone on the team will reach out to you. And absolutely, you can just go ahead and book time on someone's calendar now. It's that easy. You don't need to wait for anything else at the moment. Okay, great. I think that was all on this slide.
Yeah,
I'm good.
before we move on to the next slide, I actually want to show what happens after the call. So I'll just quickly share my screen for a sec.
Sure. And folks, please do take advantage of the webinar, consultation link that we've dropped in chat. It's an absolutely no obligation sort of piece for you. Have a chat with our team and see, what makes sense for your business overall.
Perfect. Yeah, so this is the call log section of the platform, and I believe this is the call you just took, Kushal, right? 7 minutes ago. So it's
Yes.
already recorded in the system. It shows completed. This icon is for the AI voice agent. If you open this, You have all the call details, time, duration, all that stuff, and you have the notes automatically popped in by the AI voice agent. So you have caller name Maya inquiring about business support services, runs a selling holiday themed sweater. Like these are all the notes that are automatically created by the AI voice agent. And not just this, if you click on view transcription, it actually takes you to our JC AI module in which you have the overview of the call. It gives you an automated score, 83%. It gives you the call summary in detail. It gives you smart chapters. Smart chapter is minute by minute breakdown of what happened throughout the conversation. And it also gives you action items. And I think it goes without saying, you do also have the transcript available to you. And all of this you can share with your team members on the platform. You can ask AI. But yeah, all of this information that you're seeing here, it's not just on the platform. It will also automatically be logged in your CRM. So that is another thing what I wanted to point out.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for that, Pradeek. I think that was very helpful. It's an incredibly simple interface, right? And it's fully integrated with all of the other tools that, most business owners today are using. So I think the transfer between different tools is absolutely seamless. You don't need to think about, does my AI agent live somewhere else? Will it sync with my CRM? Will I be able to coach off, any of these pieces? It's all super simple and all built in right there in the interface. So it's really, really easy to navigate through. I'm going to go back to what we were looking at over the slides as well. I believe you wanted to take us
Yeah,
through these pieces as well, Prateek.
correct. Yeah. So what the holiday agent can actually do for you. So now that we have seen what the AI voice agent can do, here's what this actually looks like in real December-like scenarios. Number one, it knows what's urgent and what's not. In December, some issues truly need immediate attention while others don't, right? So the holiday agent, as I showed with the disposition, automatically sorts that out, figures out the routing, flags the important ones. It just means that your team doesn't returns to a pile of unknowns after the holiday. Second, it resolves common questions, issues before they stack up. So most holiday frustration from what we have seen comes from simple problems that go unanswered. Maybe it's shipping delays, maybe it's refund questions, as simple as login issues. So the agent here actually provides quick and clear responses. So these don't snowball. And if a caller really sounds upset, as we have seen, it can even transfer the call to live human agent. Number three, it keeps things organized for when the team returns back from the holidays, right? One of the hardest parts after a break is figuring out what happened during the holiday. So the holiday agent here leaves clean summaries, tags everything, not just in Just Call as I showed, but also in your CRM. So your team actually comes back to context instead of chaos. And the last one, it keeps conversations warm without pushing hard. So December can actually slow things down, especially for sales. So the agent sends gentle reminders, follow up on missed calls, just enough to keep things moving without being too intrusive.
Absolutely. And I think we've got some interesting sort of pieces in chat as well. I know, Prateek, we want to
Mhm.
sort of get into how to actually building it, right? I believe you want to take
Yeah,
us
yeah.
back. But I think even before that, let's perhaps look at some of the questions that we've seen here. I just want to make sure we haven't missed out on anything. Um, so Arif says, I'm an independent optician, interesting, who wants to use the sales caller to reach out to patients, part of a CSV with dates when they last purchased their glasses. And since it's been 2 years, can the AI scan the list and only call those individuals? Interesting. And then keep track of whom it called and interacted with, etc. Also with the cost. I think that's a really interesting scenario, Arif.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. We can actually do a POC here as long as we have the information pieces. If it's a CSV file, we can get it in a Google Sheet or Excel file. We can pull information from there and have an automation created. Again, I think I missed out on this part. You can do all of this on your own, but you do also have a dedicated team of success managers, solution engineers, implementation specialists, and onboarding team here at Just Call. So this specific use case, I think we should be able to do this. We would have to do a proof of concept how this would actually look for our RF, but I think we should be able to do this.
Yeah, I'd say Arif, feel free to book some time, with the webinar calendar that I know is still the consultation calendar that I know is still in the chat. So feel free to book some time there as well. And you can have a chat. with our team as well on that one. I see another question there from Nipunya. What happens if someone asks to transfer to a human but no one is available at that time?
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens is, as I showed, there are a bunch of different settings even in transfer, right? You can transfer to a just call number or your user group, a team member, or even an external number. So it actually depends on how you set up the routing for that number. So we have phone number section, we have the settings. Let's say in the settings section, you have set it up in such a way that if everyone's busy, the call should go to voicemail, or it should be dismissed, or it should go to queue. There are a bunch of different settings that we can do. Depending on what the setting is actually been configured on the number, the transfer will follow that process.
Absolutely. Prateek, you want to jump into the section now on how to build your own holiday?
Yeah, sure.
I think we've done we've sort of showed people what that experience looks like as a caller, as a consumer. We've also showed how it looks like, on the interface. But I think this is the most magical part where I think
Yeah,
folks will
correct,
see how
correct.
to actually make it for themselves. And folks, of course, towards the end, we'll also have spin the wheel. So one lucky participant will also get, their Amazon gift card to kickstart some of the holiday spirit. I know I said I'd be making holiday sweaters. I haven't started that business yet. Don't tell Holly, but we will be giving away the gift cards to one lucky caller as well. So do stay on for that piece too. I'm going to stop sharing here, Prateek. I think you want to share your screen.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Uh, Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we
Can
can.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so building your own AI voice agent is actually pretty easy. You click on the create agent button, and there are three different ways on how you can build it. One is you can actually build from scratch, set up the personality, set up the call flow, set up routing, do everything. Then the next thing is you can actually select from existing templates that we have in the system. You have for different domains, different industries. You can just select if it's customer supports, receptionist, appointment scheduling, lead qualification. So whatever your use case is, we already have predetermined templates. But what is the most interesting part when it comes to building an voice agent is build with AI. So this is where I would maybe like to pause and ask one of our attendees. So I will be building a live inbound AI voice agent on this call. If someone would want to volunteer, you can just drop in your company name and your homepage URL, and I'll actually create an inbound AI voice agent, and you can see how easy that is. So maybe I'm putting folks on the spot, but Arif, Louis, Jean, if you want to volunteer, or someone else wants to volunteer,
Yeah, all you need to do is put in your company email address on chat, and I think we
yeah,
should build from there. I think in the meantime, I'd just like to call out that I think we've got some amazing questions from everyone in the webinar so far, and thanks folks for all of those. I think they're a great way for us to understand if we're building in the right direction. Very much the
OCH.
company who wants to build what is truly useful to people. So please do keep those questions and that feedback coming
Okay,
to us. Cool. I can see
perfect.
some interesting
Yeah,
answers.
I do have Robin reaching out the first OCH
Got it.
planner. I am guessing this is the website, ochplanner.com. Uh, this is the website, right, Robin? If you could just, okay, perfect. All right, so we now have someone volunteer, so this will be pretty interesting. So I'll start with build with AI, and it's actually just prompt engineering. You just have to write prompts, and I'll use OCH Planner for this one. So let me write a prompt. One sec. Okay. Uh, Create an inbound AI voice agent for OCH Planner. This is their home page URL. Let me just copy paste the URL so it gets context. This is their homepage URL. AI voice agent should answer all questions and queries of the caller regarding the company. Have different warm transfers set up for the caller wants to talk to sales team or support team or finance team maybe. Let's do appointment booking as well. Have AI voice agent book appointments as well, and also send message confirmation to the caller at the end of successful appointment, successful appointment bookings as after call action. Let's also collect a few pieces of information here. Collect full name, email, address, home address, and reason for calling in data collection. Yeah, I think this should be enough for the testing bit. Let's see what it generates.
This is usually the fun part where
Yeah,
you sit back and you let AI do its magic and then you look at what it comes back with for you.
yeah. Let's see how it does that. I'll also copy this URL just in case.
And in the meantime, just calling out, I think that we've seen such interesting businesses here on chat. We've got a staff treats.com. We've also got Hamper app, Arv's business, of course. I think some really interesting businesses do go check these out, folks. I think they're super interesting
Uh,
as well.
yeah, perfect. So I already have a voice agent set up. Let's just go with the settings. You are me a support agent for OCH Planner, responsible for handling customer queries. This looks nice. For the text part, OCH Planner is a company specializing in planning and scheduling solutions to optimize your daily activities. Q&A, what does OCH Planner offer? How can I book appointments? Generic stuff. Let me now actually integrate uh, the URL, right? I'll just select this URL, paste it here, and now what it's doing, it's not just scrolling through this page, but through all the sub pages present throughout the website. So any bit of information that's present throughout the website, it will, oh, I don't think it's available. Cannot be skipped. We can check on that, but ideally it should be able to. Okay, let's move on to the next
So,
one.
yeah, I think the URL was throwing up an error, I believe.
Yeah, we can do that later as well. It has already provided business context. OCH Plan is technology company specializing in scheduling planning solutions or for important booking. Sounds all right. Call flow. So this is call flow setup based on the prompt I gave at the beginning. It's asking for email address. It's asking for name, home address, reason for calling. And this is where things actually get interesting. So I wrote in the beginning, set transfer for sales team, for support team, for finance team. It has done that already. All I have to do is just figure out what the number should be when it actually transfers the call. So it has set up all of that automatically. And it has also set up book appointment. When the caller wants to book an appointment, just book an appointment, right? All you have to do is select your calendar here. After the call, it's collecting full name, email address, home address, reason for calling. It's collecting all this information because that's what I asked it to do. And you also have sent appointment confirmation SMS after successful booking. So it's also doing that as well. So again, this is pretty interesting. And as you can see, I just built it in under 2 minutes. So it's not that difficult. But again, I think Kushal will also be sharing a link so that you can connect with our team and we'll actually help you configure AI voice agent so that you get the most value out of it.
Yes, I'm just gonna drop that link again in chat. I know
Sure.
we've did it previously as well, but folks, do keep the questions coming. I think Louise has some interesting ones around, a specific portal page, that your members log into. So I think that's an interesting one. We can come back to you on that one. And I think some feedback as well, where basically, someone they had to upload a CSS file and they'd love to, just be able to share a link to the website when building the AI assist option as well. So I think that's great feedback for us overall. Lisa asked, can you make group calls? What about appointment reminders? Yes, absolutely you can. Like I said, we also have an outbound AI voice agent, which means that if someone's, and this is obviously if it's an appointment reminder, then they've already consented, they're already in your database, someone who you're making an appointment for. So you can absolutely set it up seamlessly in the same interface so that, you're able to send out appointment reminders via call, via SMS, any of those options as well. Bilingual options. Does it switch automatically? How good is the French? Great question, Robin. I think we'll have to test it out to know. But I think the simple answer for this is, for instance, and I'll share an example from us on marketing, right? I know we have about 6 minutes to go, so I'm going to make sure that, if there are any other questions, we definitely will cover them during our follow-up email as well. Of course, if you book an appointment with us, we'll anyway answer all of your questions in detail. But just a quick, way that we on marketing have, sort of been working with our AI voice agent is that we showcase our AI voice agent typically at a lot of events that we appear at, where we have people from a lot of geographies, a lot of places fly in for those events, right? So we aren't able to control at all times the audience that folks are coming in from. So what we do is very simply we set it up, to sort of detect a lot of multilingual sort of languages and accents, right? So it's able to understand what accent someone is speaking in and sort of respond to that as well. But yeah, happy to, of course, further answer that and dive in deeper if you'd like to book an appointment with us. Elizabeth said, great session. Thank you so much. How's the winner gift received today? Absolutely. You know what? We're going to spin the wheel in the next few minutes before we end, and we'll be announcing one lucky winner, of course. I'm going to go back and share my screen so that we can move on towards this. If you can just give me a moment to do that. Prateek, was there anything else you wanted to add on that piece?
Yeah, no, I think everything that you mentioned was spot on. On the French part, we can actually set up the bilingual right now, and you can have it tested yourself. But when you actually see the transcript, we also have translate option. So if AI voice agent is having a conversation in French, Spanish, we can even get it translated to English and then again log into your CRM. So that is something that we can do automatically as well.
Yeah, and just very quickly, I think I'll do a quick recap, right? I think we're about 5 minutes out. We've already
Yeah.
seen, I think, how, there's such a impact, I think, to be done with the holiday agent itself. Where, for instance, if you had support queues overflowing previously, now you have every call answered, right? Like nothing gets missed because AI is superhuman, and it's able to make the best use of technology while making sure your team is also not burnt out, right? So you won't have a burnt out team. They will have real time to recharge and come back better. And of course, there's no revenue at risk here. Your pipeline stays warm, leads move through, appointments automatically appear on your calendar, so nothing gets missed, right? No customers are slipping away between the cracks. So your entire customer experience is strong and uninterrupted, which is honestly the dream, I think, for most of us, who run businesses in any way. We also have, put together some of the top prompts that we've seen a lot of businesses, come handy for a lot of businesses during their peak seasons. I believe we'll also be dropping a link here on chat, and we'll be sending up in our follow-up email as well. And of course, this is not all, folks. If you are keen to try out our solution, we have an exclusive 35%, up to discount on our team annual plan, and that's a special offer that's running right now. So if you head over to our website, justcall.io/pricing, you can also find more details on this offer. This is only for the team annual plan, but it's a great way, to see what Just Call has to offer for you and get more value from there, of course. Before, of course, we head to, I just want to say a quick thank you, few minutes out, of course. Let's make this a season that you can actually unplug, that you can actually go on a holiday without bringing your business. You don't have to be worried about your business taking a hit. We love to see business owners and operators succeed. We all operate as humans, right? So we're very aware of the limitations of being human as well, but that's also the real magic of being a human. And we hope that with technology, you're able to take off the time that you really deserve to do